Moving on to the first presenter for this afternoon. Our first presenter for this afternoon is from AEB Cold Chain Warehouse Management. She manages commercial operations and business development of the Philippine market, and she has been with AEB for more than 3 years. She is committed in helping clients to have a competitive advantage by equipping them with the latest technologies to streamline warehouse processes, which brings better revenue growth. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce our first presenter for this afternoon, Ms. Jennifer Lataran, Philippine Sales Manager for AEB Cold Chain Warehouse Management.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for that brief yet wonderful introduction. So, when CCAP told us that we are having this face-to-face event, we at the AEB were quite excited and happy to inform that we will join right away because only after 3 years we will be able to see each other again in person. So, although we do have the Zoom, the Teams, and other online meeting venues, during the height of the pandemic, I can say that for most of us, we still feel that the face-to-face interaction still bring better and stronger connection. Again, my name is Jennifer Lataran. So as mentioned, I've been with the company for 3 years, more than 3 years already, and I'm managing the commercial and business development side of the operations here in the Philippine market. As for my presentation today, I'll be sharing with you how AEB, Cold Chain Warehouse Management, could be a tool for cold storage companies in ensuring highest quality and safety of the warehouse products. But before I talk about it, I'll share with you briefly on how and why we came here in the Philippines, what we saw, what made us interested, so that we will build a niche here in the cold chain industry. Also, I'll be giving an overview of AEB WMS cold chain functionalities and its benefits, and just a little update at the end on the dedicated team AEB put up for the local market. So during 2014 and 2015, when AEB was still researching for opportunities wherein we could also align our expertise in the global trade and logistics, we saw that the Philippine cold chain industry has a promising growth and importance, and that the cold storage business is its major driver for growth. Also during that time, studies show that in the next 5 years, the compound annual growth rate of the cold chain market is at 12.7%. And this rate is actually increasing because right now our projected rate of annual return is at 15%, which when we translate it for capacity is 50,000 pallet spaces per year. Additionally, we've seen that the industry plays a significant role in increasing preservation and lowering wastage of food. And that's where we see we could come in to help better the efficiency. So these are the two main factors that triggered us to be part of this cold chain industry. Year 2016, we established a partnership with Prime Sales. So as we know, Prime Sales is one of the leading providers of rackings, pallets, amichis, and other things needed to set up a warehouse. It was also during that year that we started doing joint events for market awareness and saturating the industry as well. Year 2017 is when we added functionalities that could cater to the nitty-gritty of the process of the cold chain industry. In 2018, we were able to do our first local cold chain warehouse management implementation, and that is to one of our most valued clients, RCS, or Royal Cold Storage. Fast forward to this year, I am happy to say that after many long hours of hard work, we already have established a strong foothold here in the Philippine market. We at AEB have developed a WMS or warehouse management system specific to support the processes of the cold chain industry. So when I say specific, these functionalities we've added were built under the best cold chain practices. For example, AEB WMS room receiving can help you easily capture and manage expiration dates that are readily configurable. Expiration dates, because we do have a readily configurable auto alerts if the products received in the warehouse fall out of the expiration period. While during stock removal, we also have the user-definable strategies such as LEFO, FIFO, FEFO, and LIFO. These are the strategies that will help you monitor product efficacy and also to avoid food wastage. Also with AEB, full suite WMS, even if there is influx in the volume of transactions in the warehouse, the data can still be captured real-time and with accuracy because we have a lot of tasks such as put away, picking, stock transfers, and others that can be easily executed using our AEB mobile application that has a user-friendly interface. And this, with its having a user-friendly interface, that means that this would help your warehouse people bring faster turnaround time. So with AEB WMS, the implication is not just streamlining and automation of the processes inside the four walls of the warehouse, but more importantly, AEB WMS is a tool for cold storage companies to be more compliant and efficient because the required standard workflow is already embedded in the system. Some of the benefits when a warehouse cold chain facility moves towards elimination of its manual and paper-based processes and introduces AEB warehouse management to manage its facilities are guaranteed food safety, increase in goods in and goods out with proper compliance as to physical and system handling of perishable stocks in a fast and consistent manner. Also, there is real-time and correct collection of data, which enable a lot of improvement as to timely inventory and accurate identification of variances, proper planning and balancing warehouse stocking levels and improvement of their productivity, increased storage facilities, and many others. So before I proceed with the update of our team members here in the Philippines, I just want to give you a little background of our company. This is for the benefit of those who do not know us. So we are a German company. We are a German software company founded in the year 1979. Our main headquarters is in Stuttgart, Germany, while our office in the region is in Singapore, and we've been there since 2001. I am part of the Singapore team, and I'm one of the team members who is based here in Metro Manila. In order to serve the growing cold chain industry closer and better, we are extending our team who will be based here locally and who are dedicated to handle our current and future Philippine customer base. The team here will be composed of project managers, solution consultants, pre-sales, and business development, and we will all be led by our APAC General Manager, Francois. This expansion reflects our commitment to echo our cold chain warehouse management expertise that could help boost the industry's move to digitization, automation, and streamlining of warehouse processes, which entails sustainability, visibility, control, and compliance. So that's it for my presentation. If you have any question regarding your warehouse management system needs, please feel free to approach us. I'm with our project manager, Mr. Brandon Gwen. So he's over there. So yeah, you can talk to us anytime. Thank you so much for listening, and good afternoon.
Thank you, Ms. Jennifer Ladaran from AEB Cold Chain Warehouse Management. And yes, in the cold chain industry, we actually have only three advocacies. Now, number one is food safety, number two is food quality, and the third is food sustainability. And as warehouse practitioners, we also work on the first expiry, first out principle. But once in a while, we also have the FISH principle when things go wiry inside the warehouse. Sino po ang nakakaalam kung ano yung FISH warehousing principle? Diba, yun yung minsan nangyari sa atin, first in, stay here. Unang dumating last month, napaglabas ka na ng mga bagong produkto. Yung lumang produkto na doon ka pala sa warehouse. That is why a warehouse management system is actually very important in your day-to-day operations. Okay, hindi po ako nagpa-plug. Wala pong bayad yun. Okay, moving on. Our next speaker is a member of the Board of Governors of the Philippine Board of Investments. She is also the lead negotiator for investments agreements and the concluding chair of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, investment chapter. She is also the DTI-BOI lead on investment reform laws, and they're implementing rules and regulations such as the Corporate Recovery and Tax Incentives for Enterprise Act, or CREATE Act. She's also the chair of the National Cold Chain Committee and advocate for stable, transparent, and consistent investment policy. She obtained her law degree from the University of the East and is a member of the Philippine Bar. She is currently completing her thesis for Masters in Business Economics at the University of Asia and the Pacific, where she also completed her Special Studies in Strategic Business Economics program. A career official, she was the Philippine Department of Trade and Industries Executive of the Year for 2015 and a recognition awardee of both the Philippines Regulation Commission and the Board of Chemical Engineering in the same year for her enduring commitment to exemplary public service. Ladies and gentlemen, to present on the BOI initiatives and strategies in promoting investments in the Philippine cold chain, please welcome Attorney Marjorie Ramos Samaniego.
The CCAP President, Mr. Anthony Wilson, a very strong partner in the cold chain roadmap. Mr. Sherwin Mita, the President of the Meat Importers Association. Distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant afternoon. First of all, I would like to greet the Cold Chain Association of the Philippines a very happy anniversary. We in the BOI is so pleased to be one of the partners of CCAP's journey as it promotes and raises the standards of the local cold chain industry in the Philippines. So for today, allow me to share with you some of the initiatives and the strategies that the BOI has undertaken in the pursuit of promoting investments in the cold chain industry. I will be discussing the game-changing legislative measures that the Duterte administration have enacted very recently that would definitely welcome all investments. Particularly, I will talk about the Corporate Recovery and Tax Incentives for enterprises, which is the CREATE Act, followed by various strategies and initiatives that we have undertaken pursuant to the cold chain industry roadmap. Okay, so under the CREATE, one of the main features of the CREATE Act is the reduction of corporate income tax. As you would know, before CREATE, the Philippines has one of the highest income tax rate in the region. So with CREATE, from 30%, it was reduced to 25%. This is for domestic and resident foreign corporation, and for micro, small, and medium enterprises, it was further reduced to 20%. We also have the minimum corporate income tax, which was temporarily reduced from 2% to 1% from June 20, it's July 2021 until June 2022. Okay, more on this rate where most of you would be interested. Of course, the CREATE law provides set of incentives. So just to provide an overview of those set of incentives, for export enterprises, the set of incentives ranges from 14 to 17 years of preferential tax treatment. And for domestic enterprises of which the cold chain industry belongs, it can range from 9 to 12 years of preferential tax treatment. I have to note that all of these incentives will be granted if your activity is listed in the Strategic Investment Priorities Plan. In addition to the preferential tax treatment, there's also the customs and duty exemption on importation of capital equipment, raw materials, spare parts, and accessories, value-added tax exemptions on importation, and VAT zero rating from local purchases on goods and services that are directly and exclusively used by the registered activity. There is also an exemption from tax and duty, including dollars tax, for donations to TESDA, SUCs, DepEd, and GED. Okay, as I have stated earlier, I mentioned about the Strategic Investment Priorities Plan. But before you can be in the SIPP, there has to be a process that it has to go through, which is going to Tier 1, Tier 2, or Tier 3. I would like to highlight that post-harvest and support services and infrastructure, including cold storage warehouses, slaughterhouses, poultry dressing plants, meat cutting plants are qualified for incentives under Tier 1. Tier 1 is you're given an incentives of 4 years income tax holiday, and there's also an additional income tax holiday if you go further away from NCR. The further away from NCR, additional 1 year. Even for those in the provinces, more likely you'll have 6 years income tax holiday. And of course, being in Tier 1, cold chain is placed under the Strategic Investment Priorities Plan under the preferred list of agriculture, fishery, and forestry. Well, this is another law that was undertaken during the recent amendments. During the pandemic, actually, we have several economic legislative measures which are quite monumental that the Duterte administration did during the pandemic. Another is the Foreign Investments Act. The Foreign Investments Act basically allows or lowers down the threshold from 200,000 to 100,000 for startups, startup enablers, and those that would employ at least 15 employees. Originally, it was 50 employees. If you're a foreigner, you have 100,000 capitalization. You need to employ at least 50 for you to be able to have that capitalization of 100,000. But right now, with the amendment of the law, you only need 15 employees, such that you could be registered under the 100,000 USD threshold. And then, of course, this is a landmark legislation that was undertaken. It's the amendment to the Public Service Act. Okay, let me just give you a brief review of this. public services are used interchangeably. And that being the case, it would be very difficult to know which is 60-40, meaning 60% Filipino and 40% foreign ownership. So it's quite muddled, and because of that doubt, as you would note, our public services, a lot of which have not actually moved. With the amendment under the law, it clarified what are public utilities, and those that are not covered by public utilities are now treated simply as public services. And now, if your activity is classified as public services, 100% foreign participation is allowed. So what are the public utility? It's now confined to simply 6 sectors. It covers distribution and transmission of electricity, petroleum and petroleum products transmission, water distribution and wastewater systems, seaports, and public utility vehicles. So all others are now treated as public services. All others are now allowed up to 100% foreign ownership. This includes build, operate, transfer, domestic shipping, aircraft and domestic air carriers or transportation, toll operations, transport network companies, transport network vehicles, and telecommunications, and more importantly, cold chain storage facilities. You know, during the drafting, the formulation of the roadmap, your president, Mr. Tito, asked me about these public services because ice plant and even cold chain storage, cold chain warehouses are closed, not actually closed, but they're treated as public services. And if it's a public service as stated, there's a requirement for a 60% Filipino, and of course, only 40% foreign ownership. So President Tito, here is now the amendment to the Public Service Act. It's now allowed, it's now liberalized, so entry of foreign investments can now come in. Now let me talk briefly about the Philippine Cold Chain Industry Roadmap, but I have to say that somebody here in the room is the main drafter of the Cold Chain Industry Roadmap. It's actually Ms. Florence Sevilla. She will be more fit to actually talk about it. But Florence, I'm just going to talk what happened thereafter. So you would see 2019, pre-pandemic, the BOI engaged experts from the University of Asia and the Pacific to formulate the Philippine Cold Chain Roadmap. From 2019 to 2021, the BOI conducted several workshops and engaged stakeholders meeting in Davao, Pampanga, and Cebu City. I'm pretty sure most of you here, were there during those periods. And then in 2020, we presented the draft roadmap in Pasay City, Subic, and Davao City. We're even supposed to go to Cebu, but we canceled that out because COVID was getting worse already at that time. So what we did was we uploaded the draft roadmap and secured all of your comments through the BOI website. Then at the height of the pandemic, we launched the roadmap in December 2020. That was the height of the pandemic. So thereafter, what happened? Of course, we're now in the implementation phase, but how do you implement it? It was pandemic. Let me tell you how we did. Of course, we created the NCQ. The NCQ is a multi-agency, multi-sectoral body has to oversee and steer the implementation of the plans and programs of the roadmap. So that's the organizational structure of the National Cold Chain Committee. The BOI is the co-chair, yours truly. We got also Yusek Samsamin, ang patuwa ng PA, and of course your president, as I've said, a very staunch partner in pushing all of this objective and vision. Mr. Anthony Dizon is the vice chair. We have created 4 TWGs, the TWG Cold Chain Services, TWG Cold Chain Logistics, TWG Policy Reform and Data Information, and TWG Food and Drug Safety. Our RBs, or what we call the BOI Resource-Based Industry Service, is the NCP Secretariat. And for this, they conducted 4-day virtual planning workshop on September 20 to 23, 2021, where the TWGs came out with work plans, activities, and programs to address cold chain industry gaps and barriers in the implementation for fourth quarter of 2021 up to 2022. And then again on September 2021, we held a special meeting wherein there was a presentation of the output of all of these TWGs, which were subjected to the NCQ review and approval, some of which actually were approved, and there are already certain projects that are ongoing. This one is just to remind you on the vision of the cold chain industry roadmap. The vision is that it's a bold champion for food safety, a recognized benefactor to agribusiness development, and a vital link in the supply chain sector, and also to remind you of our mission, a cohesive, functional, and collaborative network of cold chain stakeholders imbued with the highest operating principles and standards, compliant with government policies and regulations, and responsive to the needs of the Filipinos. So the cold chain target, the roadmap target, short term, 50,000 pallets. At that time, we thought we could do it. We were so ambitious. But look at how much, how many did we register? Actually, in the year 2020, see, it's moving. We have an estimated registered capacity of more than the 50,000 pallets. It's 60,939. You know your companies if you have been registered during that 2021, you know what happened? It's the worst. We got the lockdown, very limited mobility. So we have at least one registered enterprise at less than 3,000 pallets. And then today, June 2020, there were 2 firms. One of the firms approached me earlier. Thank you so much. It's 7.5 pallets. So now, actually, being in the Board of Investments, I'm now going to wear my investment promotion hat. And those of you who are going to expand or who are going to make new investments in cold chain storage, what are you waiting for? Go to the BOI, and we will hand hold you in the registration. We actually need more or less 40,000 pallets more. So this was the assignment I was given by Jacine. I'm going to talk about the strategies or the initiatives undertaken by the BOI for the cold chain. First is one of those approved action plan on the TWG cold chain services is the development of cold chain integrated supply chain solutions for evidence-based policymaking and investment programming. So what we did here is we entered into a MOU with DNR, EMB, and Insight SCS Corporation. The project aims to generate geomapping of available cold storage facilities. We need to estimate the current and forecast the demand for cold cold storage per location and establish dashboard. This information will be vital actually for everyone. We have identified Insight SES as our partner since they're also to complement Insight's USE issued development funded project under the Startup Grant Program of enhancing its delivery 2.0, the whole chain integrated supply chain. It's a digital platform that integrates the cold chain processes to allow real-time monitoring of cold chain assets and stored produce in the country. So, and then of course we have the UNIDO that offered their assistance in data gathering. And again, to the CCAP members, they have also appealed their request. We are requesting all CCAP members to please answer the online survey rules disseminated by Insight SCS because the data gathered will be used to populate the database for all of these projects actually. So thank you in advance. And to those who have already filled in, thank you so much. Another activity that we have was the collaboration on the development of guidelines for the minimum energy performance sectors of the cold chain industry within the framework of the project Global Partnership for Improving the Cold Chain in the Philippines. Again, we have entered into a memorandum of understanding with DENRMP, DOE, Energy Utilization Management Bureau, and the UNIDO. There were already a lot of activities that happened here, and the POI have already submitted their comments. And basically, our comments focus on updating the baseline industry data methodology to ensure that the policy development involves our cold chain stakeholders. The exception report is now being finalized. And here we have now our partners who are with us. We are also pursuing international cold chain collaboration. We started with our friends here now, Taiwan. And let me just, President Nico, let me just run through what we had agreed then, as Ms. Josephine Sun is also here. Okay, CCAP specifically expressed interest in energy efficiency. And as of course, the PH cold chain industry is committed to complying with the Energy Efficiency Act. CCCA is now represented responded that the years of training and software development. And in this relation, info session and business-to-business discussion may be pursued. Maybe it may now be the high time to even look into this info session on training. CCCA also suggested CCAP to look into the following events which they are going to undertake. There's in July, there's a Taiwan Smart Cold Chain Business Seminar in Taipei. There are also trade missions in August and November for Malaysia, Vietnam, and Philippines with business-to-business collaborations. And in October, there will be an industry collaboration summit. So those were stated during our April meeting. And we also requested PCCA to look into the Philippines as to have investments in our cold chain industry, and following also the amendment of the Public Service Act, and of course also the Philippine-Taiwan Investment Agreement. The PCCA then responded that they will inform their stakeholders of the recent liberalization that the Philippines has undertaken. But there's one more item that we have discussed, Mission. I don't know if this is under your turf, but we also requested conduct of cold chain managers training program for the Philippines, which was undertaken by Taiwan to their Vietnamese partners. So we requested that the same could actually, if we could also replicate that for the Philippines, because we heard that it was very successful according to the my colleagues there. So now again, President Tito, maybe we could relook into this and have that cold chain managers training program in the Philippines. Okay. Next is on the advocacy on the safety of frozen foods, increased demand for cold chain services. This one was one of the action plans. Actually, this was, if I recall it correctly, this was reported then by VP Agnes Negala. She is the co-chair for TWG on the food safety. I don't know if she's here. So one of the action plans are this. Guestings, TV guestings, and radio guestings. And we now made that happen. There were two activities that we just had recently undertaken. It's on June 4, 2020 at DCBP Consumer at Ibaba. And plus June 8 at TV5, Trabajo, Negosyo, Consumer. Maybe on these cases where we are going to have advocacies, we'll just inform the CCAP. You may wish to watch it. But let me state that the socio-cultural nature of Filipinos are, they basically love going to the wet market. They use the wet market then, pre-pandemic actually, as their meeting place. So now we have to change that culture. The pandemic actually heightened the need for cold chain storage. So now actually is a great time to be having awareness to the Filipinos on the use of cold chain. As you would know, the pandemic would with the pandemic, use of cold chain has now become prevalent, and it was even highlighted with the need for the time of need for vaccines. So maybe we need a lot more of this, more action on TV guestings, more food safety, more of these frozen products. We need more of this. And of course, this one also is we're now coming out with the food safety communication strategy plan. It's now being undertaken. We have already started the discussions have been initiated. We're just looking for the finalization of those. This one is just an inquiry from your very hardworking CCAP president. He actually asked me if we could actually locate in the eco zone, and of course I endorse it actually because PESA immediately acted upon and replied positively to CCAP requests. It's you can locate if you want to use the infrastructure there, you can locate it. So as you can see, despite the COVID-19 pandemic, the BOI together with our partner, the CCAP, and the relevant agencies did a lot of activities towards the fulfillment of the program. But of course, more has to be done, and I would expect your cooperation to really have more investments in the cold chain industry in the Philippines. Thank you, and once more, happy anniversary to CCAP.
Thank you, Governor March, for a very insightful and investment opening presentation. Governor March, if you may request for you to remain on stage. That I actually have been personally, or a personal witness on how the technical working groups were actually working during the pandemic. In fact, one of the times when we were actually doing the BOI cold chain roadmap, we were almost stuck in Davao together with Florence. We were in Davao actually when they declared that no one can fly. So we were, of course, it was actually one of the very encouraging experiences to work further on the cold chain roadmap rather than go home to Manila. Okay, and I hope you don't mind, Governor March, but we gathered a few questions from the audience. And actually, it's just 4 questions here. And the first question is, can the BOI develop a policy that will encourage complementation rather than competition between government and private sector investments?
Okay. So actually, I don't see any competition. If, for example, if we're talking of infrastructure, we're actually promoting the PPP, which is a private-public partnership. And even how, even now that we may be having a lot of budgetary requirements post-COVID, and of course our budget deficit is quite ballooning, we see we need to really tap private sector participation. So in that case, let me just state that infrastructure or even agriculture actually will be given more focus. So it will actually be complementary, but as a policy, we really don't have it in black and white, but for BOI, it's always private sector participation. It's at the forefront, so we don't see any competition at all. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Gov. March. And before we proceed to your second question, yes, the testings of Mr. Dizon and our representative from NMISC, Doc Bong Manalo, was really a success. So kung sino man po yung gustong mag-guest pa at meron tayong mga gustong iparating pa, pwede niyo po ako. And on to our next question po, with the apparent need for support facilities for agriculture as declared by President-elect BBM, can the BOI propose or grant special incentives package for agri-based industries to motivate private sector investment?
Wow. Okay. If you're going to have a very large investments, there is the flexible powers of the president. It's something like employing a sizable number of employment, and the amount should be that somehow big. But let me state that for agri, you already have a very good incentive under the strategic investment priorities plan underway. You have 9 to 12 years of preferential tax treatment. You have exemption from capital equipment to a certain extent, even on your raw materials. I have to say that there is no distinction now in terms of incentives, whether you relocate in eco-zone or outside eco-zone. So regardless of where you locate, you'll have the same incentives. So that's my answer.
For our third question, siguro this is actually related. We understood that PEZA has agreed to allow domestic enterprises under the SIPP to locate within special economic zone. So they're just requesting if you could elaborate the mechanics.
Okay, there are 2 ways. One is you could already avail of their incentives there. Locate there and avail of the incentive, same SIPP, create same incentives under create. Another is you could locate there and they will just issue you a certificate of permit to locate in PEZA, something like that. In short, you're just a locator in PEZA, but you can register for purposes of incentives in the BOI. That's how it is. So you have 2 modes. Go there, enjoy all the perks, the infrastructure, the one-stop shop, and even the incentives. And then, or go there as a locator, secure incentives from the BOI.
Governor March, we have a question, actually over here, going around the table. So we have a question from the audience, and they want a clarification on the text that mentions strategic location. So when we say strategic location, what does it actually mean? Is it outside Metro Manila, in a pioneering area where there are no cold storage facilities? Because I have been promoting that we need to set up one in Leyte and in Surigao.
I don't have my notes right now, but let me just say, okay. NCR for years. It also includes, I think, NCR and adjoining areas. There is a list under the SIPP. Then next is you have the Metro Davao, Metro Cebu, I think 5 years, and outside you have 6 years, something like that. I have to give to you the correct location. But that's how it is. The farther you are from the metro, the more incentives you will have. I will send it to President. I
Yes.
just don't have it right now.
Thank you, Governor March. And maybe just a last question. As the industry continues to grow, does the BOI have regulatory powers to declare an industry overcrowded also?
Yes, of course. In the strategic investment priorities, that's one of the areas where we see if it's overcrowded. The reason why, cold chain, there is still a market failure in cold chain. I don't know if Florence would agree with me, but this was evident during the pandemic. Imagine there were a lot of wastage being thrown in the provinces, even in the town officials, because of lack of cold storage. So you see the loss will comes there. But more than that, what I'm saying is for cold chain storage, the demand will be higher. So you will need more cold storage around the country. And with the President-elect's trust to really look into the agricultural sector, we really see the need for more cold chain in the Philippines.
Hello. Yeah. Last question for Mr. Manny Arcilla, but he's too shy to raise the question. Does the incentive also cover cold chain transport facilities, or is it just solely for cold chain warehouses?
That would, I think cold chain, that would be covered under the logistics, infrastructure logistics. So yes, it is included.
Okay. Thank you very much, Governor March. At this point, may we request CCAP Director Mr. Ivan Uy on stage, please. Thank you, Governor March.